Good afternoon, students. This is Mr. Verzat, and today we're going to talk about the first component to perspective drawing, and that component is called a horizon line. Now, a horizon, by definition, is where the sky meets the ground. In perspective, the way I teach it, the horizon line is actually where your eye level is. So it's an imaginary line that represents the viewer's eye level within the piece. Now, when I say within the piece, that means if you were actually in there, the horizon line would be where your eye level would be. So if you were 6 feet tall and it was a picture of a door and you were actually inside the picture, then the horizon line would be about at the 6-foot mark of that door if you were standing up. So what is the horizon line technically? Well, it's an imaginary symbol. It's actually not a part of your piece. When you go to draw your horizon line in the piece, it's simply a pre-drawing tool that's meant to disappear. Okay? So a lot of beginning artists, when they draw, they start with a line, and then they incorporate that line into their work. So like they would start the drawing line and then have the mountains sitting on top of that and then have whatever below it. You'll see in our example a little bit of a non-example of a horizon line. Try to get that out of your mind. Throw that away. Horizon line is your eye level, and it's an imaginary line that does not exist. Okay? So let's take a look at this example right here in the middle. This is an example of, see this on the left, it's a stick figure, and then in the middle we've got 4 different cubes. A horizon line is used to determine the elevation of everything inside of your piece. So if you're going to be looking at the bottom of a cube, that means that it's on top of the horizon line. It would be hovering above where you can see. If you're looking at the top of a cube, that means that you would be, it would be below the horizon line, and you would be taller and above it. If the horizon line went right smack through the middle of a cube, just like this one here, that would represent your eye line being right smack in the middle of the cube, and you would neither see the top nor the bottom. Okay? That's a horizon line in the most basic sense. Another important characteristic of a horizon line is that it determines the height of what you're going to draw. So let's just take a look at this image right here. This is where the horizon line is right smack in the middle. If you had things above you in your picture, we call that a worm's eye view. And by the way, your horizon line doesn't need to be in the middle of your paper. If you put your horizon line closer to the bottom, then you could have more room to show off all the stuff up above. For example, if you were in New York City and you wanted to draw a picture of all the towering skyscrapers that are right above you, then what you'd want to do is put that horizon line near the bottom, and that would be what's called a worm's eye view. That shows off everything that's above you. If you wanted to show off everything below you, to show this towering, show you like up above in the air looking down on this vast expanse, then you would want to have your horizon line near the top. Because, once again, it represents your eye level. We call that a bird's eye view. So in all things, when you see your horizon line, imagine that's where you would be looking in your piece. So let's look at some examples of a horizon line and how that works. Well, let's imagine that just for the sake of argument, this example exists in a world that's completely flat. There are no hills, there are no valleys, it's perfectly flat. And let's imagine that we've got this string of stop signs that are lined up one after the other right in front of each other. Well, your horizon line represents your height, and I've seen some pretty tall stop signs. So these are pictures of stop signs that are very much taller than you or I. So my eye level would line up right about here, just under the neck of the stop sign. Well, what if that stop sign were a long ways out in your picture, way off in the distance? Well, remember, it's a flat ground, it's a flat world, and if the horizon line represents your eye level, then that teeny tiny little stop sign way off in the distance is still going to be intersected at the exact same spot as the large one. The only difference is that it's smaller. It's kind of hard to grasp the mind around at first, but you'll get the hang of it once you practice in class. So in all things, if it's a flat surface and you're right next to some things that are the same height, but they're way apart in distance, they're still going to be intersected by the horizon line. So again, it's a tool to help you find out where things are height-wise in your piece. It would look pretty weird if your horizon line intersected the neck of that very tall stop sign that's right up in our face, and then off in the distance, your stop sign sat on top of the horizon line. It would look really weird. So let's take a look at some non-examples. Here's what I was referring to a while ago, where beginning artists confuse the horizon line with where the ground is at. In reality, that's not true. You can draw the ground, but I haven't really seen any place where you've got like flat ground and all of a sudden mountains just bam show up and they're sitting on top of that one little flat line. Because remember, lines don't truly exist in nature. They're symbols. So let's take a look and see what this is right here. We've got some of the traditional pyramid mountains with the little snowy caps on it. And here we have a form that's kind of cube-like and a little lopsided that is intersected right in the middle by the horizon line. Now remember, if you look over here to the left at this example in the very center, we should not be able to see the top and we should not be able to see the bottom of that cube because our eye level right smack in the middle. Well, looking at this cube, it doesn't line up with that concept. And the reason I show this to you is because it's a common beginner's mistake. In all things, think of the technique and think how it would apply. Think about every little detail in your piece. And a common mistake is that a lot of times forms don't line up to these concepts that are taught. So a horizon line, if it were your eye level, we shouldn't see the top of this cube. So that concludes this demonstration of the horizon line. After this is vanishing point and also X, Y, and Z axis. That just represents how you can tell where things go in a three-dimensional drawing. So thank you very much and have a great day.